Alright, this is a kind of quick tips use for Weebly, especially when it comes to the different elements of Weebly and how they work and how you can put them on your Weebly site and make it look really cool. So right now this is the website, the first page that I do have done, and I'm really happy with the way it looks. When you do your Weebly, you really need to think about how it looks on the screen. This is not a paper per se, it's more of a project. So what I'd like you to do is look at how do you want this to be visually. You're going to have some writing content like I have right here, but the reality is you want it to have a visual appeal and a visual read that makes it interesting to your audience. And also you're going to be presenting these kind of informally to your classmates. So how can you project this on the screen so that it is interesting for your audience to watch? And if you have too much text, or if the text is too squished or it's not very visual, it makes that kind of experience with the piece a little bit harder as opposed to if you play up with the visuals. So right now I have 2 pages done. I have my home page done. This is my second page. This is where I talk about basically my Great Gatsby lit analysis. There's still some things I want to fix about this. So it looks a little bit more polished. Like right now, there's just some things I want to change. I really like playing up my own pictures first and foremost. I think it's really important that you're careful about stock images. Only use them if they're absolutely necessary. I think there's a lot more creativity and personality when you use other images that you found and made yourself. So I played with quotes, I played with text, I definitely played with headers. I played with these things right here, which are actually links, and then I got some text. This is probably the most text I will have on the entire website, and that's because this is the most important analysis I'm doing, which is the analysis of the literary pattern in The Great Gatsby. So I dedicate a couple chunking choices to that. I will tell you that this image right here is from the internet, and I'll tell you how I use internet images. But basically, I have to cite this image, and you don't have to do a formal MLA citation like we did for Tragic Hero, but you do need to link up the citation. So if you look right here, I've linked the citation to the website that I got this from, and that citation is fair. I also played around with the like imagery behind the picture, which will make more sense in a minute. I played up with some buttons. And what I want to do is I'm really happy with how this page turned out. Now I need to do that for this page, which is hideous right now. It doesn't have anything. It's the stock image and the stock setup from my original theme. So I'm going to show you some things that I do. So first off, I do not like the header image. Now, it's a stock image and there's a couple ways. The first thing you could do is you can go to Pages. You can go to the page that you want to modify. You're going to have a whole bunch of pages. Right now my pages have already been changed, but you might have a home page, about me, and then a contact page. If you go to Pages up at the top of your screen, it's going to take you to the default pages they give you. I believe they give you 3. And then what happened was I changed the name of it. So when I click this, it allowed me to type in a brand new name, and then it allows me to decide, do I want no header? Do I want a header? And some options are easier used with some of the different themes. So I already set this up because I do want a header image. So I'm going to go here, and I don't like this image at all. So I'm going to edit the background image, and I'm going to replace it with an image that I already took, which was something I'm going to upload. So I just went to upload, and I'm going to find the image, and I've done all the prep work to put this page together beforehand. So I've already gotten all my pictures ready, and these are pictures that I took at school, and I used the food that I had in my room because food is my theme. So I'm uploading the picture. It has the stock image pictures that you can choose from, but I'm going to upload my picture. I'm going to move it. And then what I'm going to do is I can change the image. I can blur it. I can filter it. And the filter allows me to kind of like play around with what I want to do with it. So oops, there's the filter option. I'm going to vignette it and see what that does and if it looks cool. Doesn't look like it did anything. I'm going to lighten it. I do like the lightened effect. I think it's, I'm going to blur it a little bit. Now you can get, that's too much blur, but you can kind of see what you want to do with it. And I want a little bit of blur, but I still want it to look Snickersy. So we'll try. It's only going to do 10. Let's see if that works. And that's okay for right now. So I got my image kind of set up. I've done what I wanted to it. Up at the top, the green button, I save it, and then the image is there. The next thing is it's asking me to drag in the elements. So I'm on the page option. I need to go back to build. Build is your access to all these different resources. So these are basically all the different tools that you can grab and put onto your page. So this is going to be my other applications page, and I might change up that title in a minute. Or I think it's more food for thought, maybe. More food for thought. I'm trying to play up a theme here. And then what I'm going to do is now I'm going to copy paste the information that I want on this page. I already did all of this. This is my works cited page that I got to finish. But I already did all of this onto a Google Doc. And the reason why I do it on a Google Doc first is because it allows me to do a little bit more editing. It's easier to edit on here. And also, if your Weebly crashes for whatever reason, having this as a backup makes it really helpful and less frustrating, because if the Weebly crashes, at least you have this information already here. So what I'm going to do is, this is my little intro paragraph, and I'm not going to copy this whole thing as one big document, because the problem is then I can't play up the layout like I did before. So I'm going to copy this over. Sometimes I use what's already on the screen, sometimes I change it. So this is already here. I'm going to paste that in. I don't like this thing. I'm going to get rid of that. I actually do like the way that this is structured. I don't like this. So if there's some things on here that you don't want, all you got to do is click the blue, and then delete it. I definitely don't like these cat pictures and dog pictures because they don't make any sense for what I'm doing. So I'm going to delete some of that stuff out. I'm going to change up my title, which is going to be Other Literary Applications. And then I'm going to go back to my source of already typed stuff. So this is my title, which is Literary Cuisine. And then I got my information right here that I'm going to copy over. This is actually my second source. So Gatsby is your first mandated source. You have to use Gatsby. That is your core anchor text. But then you have to find a literature source, like a legitimate literature source. That could be a short story, it could be another book, it could be a play, it could be a poem. So mine is Langston Hughes's Thank You Ma'am, which we'll read in class. So you should know what this source is. And if you notice, the analysis of this source is super short. I don't need you to do a huge Great Gatsby response. Instead, you're just kind of doing something punchy to kind of help. So whenever I want to add an element, I always go over here, I grab the text element, I put it down here, I copy paste it in, and there's some things that are happening here. First is this text is too small. Right now it looks fine, but the reality, this is visual, and I want it to be visual, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so it doesn't feel like a paper, it feels more like a website, which is what it's supposed to feel like. And I'm playing around with some things. So here's another thing I'm going to do. I do want to link up Thank You Ma'am, the short story, to the actual website. So I'm going to go to the website where I got the short story from. I'm going to look for the PDF right here. I'm going to copy the link, and then I'm going to paste it into the Weebly, and now it's created under website URL. I've created this kind of digital feature that's very much website. The only thing I don't like about my theme is the color of this is really light. So I'm going to change it to something a little bit darker and easier to read. I'm probably going to go along with whatever my pictures were. So I'll change it to brown because I believe my picture, oh, it's got a nice blue. So I'll actually change this so it looks more blue, like what I've already done on some of the previous pictures. Alright, so I gotta fiddle with that. So as you can see, I've kind of been playing up what I got and how I want to do it. So next I'm going to be doing the next text box, which is actually going to be my popular sources, my contemporary sources. So you need one source. Your mandatory source is The Great Gatsby. Your secondary source has to be something literature based. Your third source is going to be pop culture. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to add in some pop culture references. So I have my text already ready to go, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slideshow. And I really want to do GIFs or whatever those things are called. I want to do that. I just don't know how to do it. Right now, though, I'm going to do a slideshow, and I'll delete out these pictures. So I think what I'd like to do is just a simple slideshow. I'm going to continue. I'm going to upload the photos. I already got this done, because if you don't have this done ahead of the game, it's kind of a pain in the butt because you got to go back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to find a couple pictures I already saved. I saved the elf picture. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add caption to this. And my caption, I already typed it up. I knew exactly where I wanted to go with my caption. So meals can characterize people, elves, saccharin, which saccharin is a fancy way of saying sugar. And I'm going to paste that in here. And I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to save it and just see if it works. Unfortunately, it's competing with that heinous cat picture. So I'll get rid of that in a minute. And then now I have a slideshow. So please do not feel like you have to do a whole bunch of text for this. You don't, and you shouldn't. Really, this should be more of a visual resource. And like I said, it's kind of a mixture between an essay and a presentation. It's kind of combining two elements. So those were a couple of the features. There's so much more that you can do, but I'm hoping that this will kind of give you some ideas. And like I said, there's still some polishing and things I want to do. I want to add spacers. Spacers are really nice because they allow you to kind of space out your paragraphs so they're a little bit easier to read. Anything that has this little lightning bolt you cannot use, so just be careful about those. Those features are only if you pay for a premium. You've already seen me use block quote, which I really like. That creates a nice visual effect. It looks like YouTube videos are now allowed, and actually I am putting a YouTube video on, which is going to be my Shrek video that you guys will see in class. So this is Weebly. It was definitely a longer video than I wanted it to be, but it helps you guys kind of see how to play with Weebly. And that's part of the challenge, is getting used to this new technology. So good luck and have fun.